Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here. We're going to continue with playing Hearts of Iron. Okay, a bunch of people want to trade with us now that we... Okay. Alright. Oh, we're down to high popularity again. Didn't last, oh well. Need some metal from the Baltic states before the Soviets take it all. Okay, the Reich Colonial Bund is also calling you, also as opposed to the other National Socialist organizations. Period poster. This is a Tanganyika event. I know I've talked a little bit about this. This is the National Socialist organization that's promoting, and you can see in the poster, particularly Africa, Cameroon, Tanganyika, Southwest Africa. That's Ritter von Epp there at the podium. He was the person in charge of the RKB. This is just, if you're playing with Tanganyika installed, poking you to remember and think about what you're going to do about Africa. And they held a lot of lectures like that to, you know, mid-level, because you saw their sort of officer types from different organizations, promoting up why Germany should go there, why they should be returned, and improve the national consciousness on it. The new industrial zone is ready. Okay. You will no longer have a strategic resources is misleading, as I've said before. Okay. Ammunition capacity has advanced for our fighters. The 4-engine bomb crew layout has advanced as well. Now, oh boy. In position here? Yeah. Recon unit communications. One thing I think is a little misleading with Black Ice is their recon cavalry units. Really don't think Germany used, haven't looked it up, but really used divisional level reconnaissance cavalry units. They did have reconnaissance units at divisional level. A lot of them were either motorcycles or jeeps type armored cars, even for non-armored divisions. Yep. Okay. street sweeper going by outside, I'm presuming you're hearing. But they also used foot reconnaissance. It just troops designated as reconnaissance elements that would, do recon. So I very much agree with the idea of having a recon unit. I just don't know that it's properly considered a cavalry unit. Okay, let's see. We're going to go over to there and take a look. As we looked at the last episode, they had flanked the capital, so I presume taking the capital and forced conquer. And Japan has annexed. Oh, it was up here. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong spot. It's here that they had surrounded, or hadn't surrounded, but they had flanked out. I guess they took Tuvan or whatever that is and annexed it. The rest of the territory that was controlled or occupied by the communists converted over to communist Chinese territory. So Japan is moving forward there. And we will... Okay. Diplomatic report. Our diplomatic service reports from Prague, faithful forever. A manifesto for the defense of the Republic is published in many newspapers, and by the end of September it was signed by over 1 million people. So this is Czechoslovakia's attempt at building a national identity, a national resistance movement to the various forces that we've been seeing that's been pulling Czechoslovakia apart. Okay, aerial mines, we'll deal with that just to get this out of the way. So we have aerial mines now, which will help our sea attack. Okay, the Fuhrer in Italy. The Fuhrer travels to Italy to avenge at El Duce from May 3rd through the 9th, 1939. This helps bring Germany and Italy closer together. There's still, don't know why we haven't. I thought we should be able to get mentioning Austria. Yeah, the reoccupation of that. We don't maybe have enough German support? I don't know. An event will fire eventually, but this is not the first time they've met. Obviously, Mussolini had previously traveled up for the Pact of Steel signing to Berlin. Mussolini did speak German, just that's my understanding. He spoke Italian and German, so obviously he could converse with Hitler without a translator. But this was a, I think this is maybe Hitler's, and I know I've talked earlier that Hitler didn't travel much, but I think he had traveled once before on a state visit to Mussolini. I think that like in 34 or 35, I forget, I'm sorry. But, so traveled down there, nice photos of it. And you can see it was, promoted, highly popular. The little Italian flags on each window, the big, long German Nazi flags, Hitler, Mussolini signs, some badges from that. We're going to take the full tour, which will go out to a military exercise. Get nice color photos. There's Hitler, there's Mussolini. Some SS, or no, those are Luftwaffe guys there. I think that's an SS guy. Out watching, those are mostly Italian soldiers there watching some military maneuvers. Is it time to eat? To me it looked like they were heading somewhere to eat. when I was traveling around Italy on my first European trip, and it was, one of these bus tours that go around. Oh, is it time to eat yet? Food. Kind of thing. Italy can have some good food. I think a little better than German food, but that's just a personal taste thing. There's Himmler, Hitler, back to El Duce, various officers, all wearing the best uniforms, as you can see. I've seen these pictures, particularly both of these, misidentified. They're very much from the state visit. These are peoples from either Libya and or Eritrea, Somalia, more so than Abyssinia, Ethiopia, the more long-term puppets or colonies of Italy that they were either in residence or were brought up for this event to sort of show off this event to them, and them at the event for the Germans, to show that yes, Italy still has or does have now a colonial empire, which Germany doesn't. As a pointed reminder. And this. And more scenes of them, various, because they travel through several cities, lining the way, lots of people, flags, both Italian and Nazi, and fascist, because those are the black with the fascist wreaths and Nazi type flags. That's the Nazi flag with the royal flag of Italy. And so that's different than the Nazi flag or German, or maybe I should say this is the German flag with the royal flag of Italy, I don't know, or this is sort of the Nazi flag with the fascist flag. Minor thing to some people, but it is a thing. Okay, prove our relationship by 5. Okay, which is this? Good event report. Very online. Oh, armor plate thickness. Okay. So we're up as far as we want to be on that for the moment. Not as far as we want to be. We will also do light armor as well. Get those researching. You notice they gave some of the territory over from Nanjing, or over to Nanjing. Oops, somebody stole our blueprints and they don't say who. The lower part of it is still Japanese. Organization Todt. I think we already had this and I talked about it, because I know earlier on I told you about the crash that I had to go back and replay a little bit, so I know I talked about this, whether it was in the crash or not, but just basically, if we didn't talk about, or whether we did or we didn't, decent engineer, very loyal to Hitler, and we can put him in charge of this organization. Todt grew up. One of the only other one that I particularly know of that's named after a person who's alive in Germany was the Hermann Göring, Reichswerk Hermann Göring, or Hermann Göring Reichswerk. It's the only other one that I know named after a person while he's alive. So yes, we'll do that. Few minor difficulties like with some of the save games we've had, so hopefully I've got most of that cleaned out. And obviously it's to some degree a black ice issue, but it can also be a, they have 11, so a Hearts of Iron issue, in the sense that black ice is simply pushing to the limits what Hearts of Iron Engine can do. And when I've had some of the crashes, they have not, I can't repeat the same thing without my recording software active. And that's a key thing, because the recording software here is taking up a lot of resources. Sure. Yes. So when it's pushing things a little bit more, stressing them out a little bit more, I guess you could say. It's more likely to fail than just simply failing because of that. Okay. The Nanjing Massacre. Shall we say this? Very, very bad behavior by the Japanese. It's most assuredly a war crime. I know we have a few Japanese viewers here. But there's no good way around it. There were hundreds of thousands of dead. I would say 90+% of them were not military related. They were not the situation of even some civilians with, rifles or something shooting at a Japanese soldier in the city, and then they overreact and kill everybody in the building or anything like that. No, it was just a murder orgy, I think would be a good term for it. So it was very bad behavior. I don't know of a time that there was a Nazi event where the Nazis went in, the standard soldiers, shall we say, because this wasn't done by Imperial Palace elites or some fanatical right-wing militia SS type element of the Japanese army. It was just done by the Japanese army. I don't know of a single incident, and I'd be happy for you to post one, where the standard German soldiers went in and killed 300,000 plus people just to kill them in a murderous rampage like this. Oh, there may be 300,000 plus died in a city like Stalingrad or Leningrad during the battle. I'm not saying that there wasn't stuff like that going, that many civilians dying or dying in bombing raids or whatever, but what I'm saying, this is not what it was. 90% or more of these deaths or more happened after the Japanese took the city. It was just come in and murder people, a lot of, and don't use too many bullets because we're running out of them. Go stab people and use your samurai swords on them. It was just a murder orgy. I can't think of a Nazi situation where they did that. They killed many more people in death camps and other things. Not, this isn't, Nazis are not as bad, or Germans are not as bad as the Japanese, or, no, the Germans, if they all share a responsibility for the government that they supported, even if they didn't support everything the government did, but they supported the government. It's nothing like that, but it's just, a really strange. I know there was some bitter fighting outside of the city, and the Japanese had some significant casualties, but this was just Japan, the Japanese army, out of control here, and they just went out of control for their murder orgy. And they're, so that's my take on it. Not a good thing, not good behavior at all. Okay. Our diplomatic service reports that Czechoslovakia, after they have received reports of some of our preparations for Fuhrer, we had that event a few episodes ago, I know, have begun a partial mobilization, one-year reservists and members of the technical and special units for protection of municipal elections out of fear of possible incidences during elections. So this is to counter SDP type actions to disrupt the elections and set up immobilization. And also I do believe a training and exercise in mobilization preparedness for the Czechoslovaks. So they, you know, now this isn't the normal reservists doing their service. It's everybody called up at once within the category and doing that. So this is preparation for war as well as protecting the elections. I mean, that's part of it, but they were worried about the SDP, the KDP, and the Poles and whoever else disrupting the elections. So Germany gains threat on Czechoslovakia. The battle of the century. Well, of course, this is the rematch between Joe Louis and Max Schmeling. Joe Louis knocked Schmeling out. Clearly, the American won. Max Schmeling became a rather, even despite this, and he had other fights in Germany and other places and won. He was very much popular within German society, but nobody in the boxing game, you know, the boxers, made anything money like the modern sports boxers do that get to be this level of world champion type levels. Joe Louis, I think it was before or after the war, was working as an elevator operator in New York City. That's not a very well-paid job, particularly then. Wasn't doing well. He did go into the army during World War II, and Max Schmeling went into the Luftwaffe and was a paratrooper in World War II. Just sort of post-war. They reconnected post-war. Max Schmeling post-war had at least one or more automobile dealerships and was doing very well. And because of racism in America, Joe Louis never really did financially very well and wasn't doing very well. And Schmeling helped supported him later in life, as Louis, like I say, wasn't doing too well a bit later in life. But we lose some popularity, gain a little dissent because our Superman was beat by a non-Superman. How does our ideology hold up now? Joe Louis, Jesse Owens. Maybe the ideology doesn't work or isn't as quite correct as they are trying to promote it. What is that? Fighter pilot training is advanced. That's good. Let's see, let's do TAC air. Japanese blueprints stolen, so our spies got some, improves the destroyer escort role. So I guess we stole some manuals. That's a good way to explain it. Destroyer escort role. Okay, so we've improved this. Well, that's nice. We stole some manuals and we'll have them translated into German. Okay, another headline from the Los Angeles Times, and actually George 1941 sent me a bunch of the cover pages from the LA Times from the period, And I used them as that part in that. In a speech in Marseille, I think it's Marseille, I read the article, Pétain warns veterans of Germany's war threat. So, damn, this isn't too good to have the French warned about us, and ruins our relations a little bit. Flying boat prototypes have advanced. Okay, well. We're fairly well caught up in most. I'm not doing the CAG fighter bombers and such at the moment. Let's improve the artillery. Okay. Yeah, John Rabb at Nanking. Event from TRE. Many Westerners were living in the Chinese capital city at the time, conducting trade or missionary work. As the Japanese army approached and initiated bombing raids. Basically, and you can read the rest of this, they saved many thousands of people. And they set up an international committee for Nanking Safety Zone, created the safety zone to provide Chinese refugees with food and shelter from impending slaughter. And basically, the Europeans stood outside of buildings and things like that and told the Japanese to go away. And the Japanese were more or less under orders not to disrupt attack the Europeans or Americans, the white people, whatever you want to generally lump them into, group. So now Rob was one of the sort of top leaders within this group, and he was there working for Siemens, a Siemens employee. And we have a number of safety zone persuading the Chinese government to move all their troops. Oh, it was partly successful. So, but he comes back and shows some films and talks and lectures about how bad the Japanese were on this. So this hurts our relations with Japan, because obviously Japan is displeased by him and several other high-position Germans in their opposing them and then promoting their bad actions in China. And so not all events help us out, as in like getting Japan into the Axis early. Okay, naval bomber prototypes. Advanced, and we're going to shift that technology to something over here, maybe. Trying to do the 38 stuff first, if there's a good tech to do it. Okay, and welded plate armor construction. I know it just looks bad, but you need this to move forward in other technologies as time comes. Let's look at some strategic doctrines here. Either 38s that we want to do. Well, artillery approaches, that's good. Romania. Money for... No, we don't want fuel even though we're negative at the moment. Okay, money, no. No. Money for some steel from the US if we want. We give them money for fuel? No. Send forces to help Franco. We'll gain some money, give them that. Yeah, okay. We'll send resources, various type to help Franco. War's still going on. Okay, industrial efficiency, and we also have some other good stuff coming up. Yes, long solution of Austria. Cool. Yay. Actually, we're going to save that for next episode. Industrial efficiency has advanced, which is good. Again, I don't understand why it takes down from the ICs. Don't understand. Just don't understand the thinking. Maybe, you know, somebody could explain why it should do that. Not just that it does, but why it does. What does efficiency mean? Okay, so we need to stop that because it's 1940 now. Any of these need more? We need steel production up to get some of these. Thanks. Okay, but it's good to have. We want to have that. Okay, Westwall, the LIMS program. I presume I'm spelling that correctly for Germany. You can see the bunker designs here. Basically a machine gun port there, machine gun port firing out there through arcs of fire. This is the way in. Not exactly sure what that is, but this is another firing port, but it covers the door. So if somebody's like trying to assault your door, you can shoot out there. Bunks, probably multi-story, to live and to survive. Multiple rooms with doors, so if they come in and, you know, throw a grenade in there, it doesn't, you know, or blow it open, or shoot high velocity rounds or something, it doesn't knock the whole place out. Similarly here, believe these are entrances here. Not sure what that is right offhand, because don't know quite exactly how that one works. So that looks like an entrance with that, but it's separate, and I'd have it all as one. I don't know. But these are some of the things. Again, the machine gun covers the rear door, and unfortunately, I click this so you can't see, but there's machine gun loops forward, but there's also like internals. Like if you got into here, you could shoot there, and if you got into here, they could shoot, you know, from multiple rooms. So very hard to take some of the stuff. So we're going to secure. We're going to get level 1 or level 2 pillboxes in all of those provinces. We don't. You had the choice of not going down this path of going down the program. So, but once you're here, you don't get the choice. So we lose a lot of supplies because this takes a lot of building. And until June 38, what's the date? June 12th, so 10 days of the IC loss, which is pretty heavy, 8%. So we're going to do that. And yes, we're going to build some southern air bases in southern Germany. Kick them all up top. Although we're not building too many factories, this isn't really hurting us. And we are still building some in key spots here, which will keep the practicals down. Alright, I think we're going to call it a day. We'll do the Anschluss of Austria in the next episode. We can talk a little bit about that. Then see some of the effects of that. So we'll just hold off on that, and I guess that's where we'll end this episode. Thanks so much for viewing. Please, again, remember to like these videos and post any comments, critiques, whatever. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much.